Okay, so happy Thursday. Oh my God, I almost thought it was Friday. It feels kind of like a Friday. But so yeah, we're almost at spring break, but there's a couple of things that we can look forward to once we come back from spring break. So obviously the first week we have our general meeting on April 8th, and then after that we have our mental health colloquium. And we have a few special guests. I'm not too sure about them. I know they're like super cool, but I don't know their whole background and stuff. So I'll let Courtney talk about that more. And then we have our psych collab with like other organizations at the school. And that's like the 22nd of April. Yeah. And so I hope this is like really beneficial because in April we're all like really stressed from like midterms in school. So we can just like, I don't know, chillax and talk about mental health in April. And yeah, so I don't want to really talk about our special guests because they're here, so there's no really point of me introducing them too much. So I'll just let them talk when their time comes. So I'll just pass it on to Gus unless Dom, you want to add anything.
Yeah, just super briefly, because I know we have some of our junior execs shadowing us. There isn't going to be any exec meetings over like the spring break or anything. For those of you who have been attending exec meetings, the first or like the next one will be the 7th. So the Wednesday before our first general meeting of April. So just a heads up for those of you who wanted to attend. And again, if you guys are still looking to be potential board for like future semesters, you're more than welcome to like join us for our exec meetings and just check it out. But just a heads up because I see a couple of familiar faces. So I was going to email you guys, but since you're all here, I think that's it. Yeah, for the mental health collab, I think we're still confirming some guest speakers, so we don't want to give that too much away right now. And as for this site collab, we're going to be working with CAPS, Beach Buddies, Active Minds, and musical meditation. So a couple of meditation groups, a couple of they're kind of like exercises medicine, but I think, yeah, I actually haven't met them. So you guys will have to come find out and get to know a couple of other organizations. So that'll be for next month. And I think that's it. Thanks, Esme.
Sure. All right. So I'll pass it on to this other tile who I'm in the same room with, but this is Gus Gardino. Gus, you can go ahead and unmute yourself now.
I'm unmuted. How you doing, all of you? Good to see you. Thank you for having me for this. This is great. Love to do it. Anyway, as Esmeralda said, my name is Gus Gardino. She actually was one of my athletes when I was at Moore Park High School. So she's the one that got me into this thing. Anyway, so I'm using her outline, which is background information. I have a bachelor's degree in biology from Gonzaga way back when dinosaurs still walked the earth. And then I have a BS in kinesiology from CSUN and a master's in biomechanics from CSUN as well. As far as certifications, NSCA, CSCS, been that for about 30 years. NASM CPT, and then United States Track and Field, I'm a level 3. So I can coach Olympic athletes, and USA weightlifting. Those are all of those things. Now, as far as how I ended up in kinesiology, started coaching back in 1974, actually, way before any of you were around. So anyway, coaching football, track, volleyball, all these years. Currently, I'm the strength and conditioning coach at Moore Park High School. I still coach track over there. I don't coach football anymore. Takes up too much time. And I own this gym that I'm sitting in right now. So that kind of takes a lot more time. But what actually got me into this was had an accident. I was a store manager for Hughes Market way back when, 1987, and was shot in a robbery. And in the middle of that, going through all the surgeries and the rehabs and stuff like that, I decided I was going to go back to school. So I went back, started at CSUN, kind of bounced around, tried psych for a while, thought I was going to work with people that had gone through traumatic experiences like that. Found out I wasn't going to be very good at sitting in a desk, so or in a chair. So switched over, went to Kines, and then somewhere in the middle of that, I ran into a guy named Dr. Bill Whiting, who ended up being my mentor and my graduate advisor. He was our biomechanics teacher, and first class I took with him, I knew that was what I wanted to do, was biomechanics. I'd honestly been doing it pretty much most of my coaching career, coaching hurdlers, sprinters, quarterbacks, blah, 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 so working on mechanics. So it just was a real natural thing to do. Anyway, after that, been kind of bouncing around from high school to high school. I do work with some professional athletes, as well as collegiate athletes. But 5 years ago, we opened this gym, and it's right across the street, actually, from the high school, which makes things really nice. But I started my own corporation way back in 1992 called Evolution Athletics. And the gym is EA Fitness, which is Evolution Athletics for short. But I've always worked in the field as an independent contractor. Once I finished up and got going, 35 years ago or whatever it was, I never wanted to work for any of the clubs like Gold's or 24-Hour Fitness or any of them. I wanted to have the freedom to design, develop. I didn't want somebody else trying to tell me, hey, you have to do this workout with this person or that workout. It's not the same. Everybody's different. Okay. So you have to be able to do that. The thing is with this, being an independent contractor, the money's better, okay, than you're going to make in a small or in a club like that. Trouble is it's hard to get the money. It's hard to stay busy. Private training, in general, is a very word of mouth kind of thing. Your reputation will precede you. Especially, I've been in this town now for 17 years. So a lot of what I get is from people who say, hey, you need to go talk to this guy. And then they come over here and we do our thing. As far as when I started out way back, I started out primarily working in boutique gyms and physical therapy offices. I was working doing what we call transitional therapy. So post-physical therapy, therapy is going to get a person to functionality. They're going to, get up, stand up out of a chair, sit down in a chair, that kind of stuff. But there's so much more to do after physical therapy is over to get somebody back to, real world kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I come in. I'll pick them up after their therapy's over with, and then take it to the next level and hopefully be able to get them, functionally happy with the way they can move, and, less pain and stuff like that goes along with it. So it's a great way to spend a day working with people like that, because you see it. It's very gratifying when somebody goes, oh my God, that doesn't hurt. It stopped hurting because you did this or you did that. So, and you can't just cookie cut, and you can't just take it for granted that everybody does the same thing. You have to get very, very creative when you're working with people like that. As far as, what I think about the business itself, I don't know, the normal routine for me, I'm up at, now that I own the gym, I'm up at 5, starting at 6, leaving at 6 at night, 6 days a week, anywhere from 8 to 12 clients a day, just back to back to back to back, which is fine. That works okay, but it is somewhat tiring at times. But there's no real, the pros of this whole situation is it's just really satisfying to work with people and help them, whether they be some 12-year-old kid who's trying to become a sprinter, or some 80-year-old who's trying to deal with neuropathy and whatever else is going on with them. It's very, very satisfying to get that. There's no real downside other than working 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. That's the downside. But, it's all good. As far as, school or the profession itself, school, stay in school, finish, get your degrees. You need them. Okay. The business itself does not require uh, us to be licensed in the state. That's been kind of tossed around for years. I don't think it's ever going to get there, unfortunately, because you're working with clients, but if you don't know how the body works. That's what you're going to learn in school, how it works, whatever you do, physical therapy, biomechanics, exercise science, whatever. You need to know what it is the body can and can't do and why, because that makes you a better trainer. Okay, on the other end, you can manipulate things. Mechanics is a big deal that way. Okay, how actually a joint functions and stuff, how the muscles work, things like that. It helps you to design and develop, because you do have to do a lot of adjusting. It's like, okay, here's a bicep curl, do a bicep curl. Well, that hurts. Okay, well, turn your hand this way, or turn your, or that shoulder's too high, or your head's tilted, or whatever. You need to know those things and be able to do it. So school's huge. It's going to give you the foundation you need for the future. But, you have to work, absolutely have to work from a position of integrity at all times. You can't be fooling around with people. Their health, their well-being is in your hands. So, you have to take that seriously. You can have a good time doing it. I love what I do. But yeah, you do. You have to be very, very on top of that. And then the other thing that's out there, which really is kind of disappointing, has happened over the last, say, 10 years, is you've got a lot of people, what I call hack trainers. Basically, there's somebody who went out and got some, weekend certification from some who knows what. And they think that because they were a football player or did some lifting in high school or college, that they know something about training and strength and conditioning, and they actually have no clue. And they're messing people up. The biggest thing I see nowadays that's doing the most damage to the business is the is the YouTube thing. Okay, there's a bunch of these guys out there throwing up videos and workouts all over. They're not paying any attention to exercise sequencing. They're not paying attention to mechanics, posture, anything. They're just throwing exercises out there and getting paid for putting these videos out, and half the stuff that's out there is garbage. But unfortunately, people, the private training side of it, okay, some people can't afford that, or they don't want to, so they figure, well, hell, I'll just go on my phone and I'm going to look at this video. Oh, wow, I can do this, do that. Well, the exercises aren't in the right order, so therefore you're probably screwing something up or whatever. But that's where the business is going to get tough, because you're competing against that for clientele. So again, back to the beginning, your integrity, how you present yourself, the way you do your work is huge, because that word of mouth and that personal referral from somebody else is going to keep you busy. But it's a tough business. You gotta work your butt off to keep your clients and to get new ones. But if you do it well, you'll be pretty successful. And then as far as what I do, I can hang out in that biomechanics discipline quite a bit. That's pretty much the platform I work from. I can do nutrition, I can do all that other stuff too, but mechanics is my deal. So anyway, that's about it for me for now. I know you guys are going to be asking questions, maybe, but where are we going? Back to you. Okay, you're it. Back to Esmeralda. I'm turning off my mic.
I feel like those weather people. It's like, back to you, Gus. But I mean, whatever. But, yeah, if you want to see, like, this is our setup. It's so unique.
This is my upstairs room where we do yoga.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of other stuff. Show you downstairs, but
Can
you're gonna
I?
show them downstairs?
Yeah, just a quick
Okay, she's
preview.
gonna show you downstairs. This is a cool gym. It's about 8,000. Oh, where we go?
Wait, how do I get out?
Okay, here we go. Go out the door. Okay, I'm back on for a second. This is an 8,000 square foot gym she's going to show you. We're upstairs. This is downstairs. We get a lot done in here. We do performance training in here, that big alley down the middle over there. We do speed training. I do block starts in
Start
here.
looking at me weird.
In here. So yeah, it's pretty, it's more boutique though. It's not a big box. It's more that way. It's, very, very structured. I have all my clients trained or all my members trained to re-rack their weights and wipe it down and do all that kind of stuff. So I don't have to do anything. I just show up. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, all right, I'm done.
All right, thanks, Gus. But yeah, I love this gym. It literally has everything you need and like probably more. And it's just so like the vibe is just so non-judgmental, unlike other very big commercial gyms. But and not to mention he's right across from the high school. Like that was like on marketing because that's how I know him very well is high school. But anyways, I'm gonna pass it on to Dom if you want to introduce Nate because he seems like a really good guy and needs a proper introduction.
Thanks. Really quickly, did you guys want to do questions for Gus first and then we'll move on to Nate, or did you guys want to like save all the questions for the end? Does anyone in the audience or exec, do you guys have any recommendations?
Probably save for the end, just so that Nate can get his, his information and his experience so far out there, and then we can just address whoever each question is going to.
Gotcha. I have some questions for Gus. So what I'm going to do so I don't forget them is throw them in the chat. And then Gus, at the end, if it's okay, we'll read kind of like all the questions from the chat so you can go through those. Because I know I'll forget once Nate starts talking. So that's what I'm going to do. Any other people who are listening in the audience, feel free to throw some questions in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. And I'm going to introduce my very good friend, Nate. So Nate, Noah, and I were all in one big group. In undergrad, actually, we met in Kin 462, Strength and Conditioning. We had to create, if you guys ever took that class yet, we had to create a video of a strength and conditioning facility that we created. So we came up with this whole name. We're the fake personal trainers. We showed all these things and Nate brought it to fruition. So Nate and I have become closer contacts and we're kind of, things are in the works. So I'm going to pass it on to him. I'm really, really excited for you guys to hear from. So Nate, take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful day. Before I get into talking about the stuff that I'm going to talk about. And I want to thank Gus too. Gus, I appreciate you for everything that you shared. I appreciate all the years that you've put into this industry and the years that you've put into your work. It shows in the way that you speak. And I just want to acknowledge that before I begin. Because I'm a son in this. I'm new to this. I'm a baby. So where did I be? So as Dom said, Noah and I and Dom, we all met in Kin 462, and we all started that class wanting to become physical therapists. We all left that class. No. We didn't want to be physical therapists anymore. And I can only speak for myself, but I felt lost. I felt very, very lost after that because that was my last semester at Cal State Long Beach. And my whole time there, I had thought, I want to become a PT. And then in my last semester, I found out, oh my gosh, that's not what I want to do. What do I do now? I spent 4 years in school, spent all this money. What do I do now? But the weird thing was that I was still interested in the field, still fascinated. I was fascinated by biomechanics actually, so pretty synonymous with with Gus over here. And honestly, that's what really brought me down this strength conditioning route. In that time, after graduation, when I finished, I did end up actually doing some soul searching. And at one point, I thought I wanted to become a chiropractor too. Went the whole nine, applied to school, got my letters, got accepted, got into school. But then I dropped out. Why? Why did I drop out? That's probably, you all are probably like, why the hell did you drop out? Like, you spent all that time in school, you studied so hard, you got the grades. Why did you drop out? I dropped out because I didn't want to follow, honestly, this country's healthcare system, this country's protocol, the way that our country treats health and wellness. In my personal professional opinion, it's not the way that I want to treat health and wellness, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So what I decided to do from that point on is decided to do more soul searching. And what do I mean by that? I tried to learn about myself. What do I like? What am I good at? Why do I want to do this? That was one of the biggest things, actually. Why? What was my why? Why am I in this? Why do I want to do this? Am I doing this for me? Am I doing this because I want to be great? Or am I doing this because I want to be great at what I do, what I'm able to do, how I'm able to help, how I'm able to provide my service, how I'm able to cater to the individuals who might need this, that, or the third. Building off that, I personally felt limited solely as a chiropractor, solely as a physical therapist, in my ability to help other individuals. In addition to that, in my ability to deviate from said protocols. So I also didn't want to pay all that money into this country's education system too, because that was just for me, I'm an individual where if I see a problem, I don't want to feed into it. I'm going to do everything around it. And that's what I did. So now here I am. I graduated in 2019, 18. So we're here 3 years later. And I started all that. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. All that occurred in 2019. And when I say all that occurred, I mean when I dropped out of chiropractic school. When I dropped out of chiropractic school, that was in 2019. At that point, I decided, you know what? No, I'm gonna go full in with strength conditioning. And that's when I went in full with strength conditioning. At that point, I decided to help a colleague of mine start up a small business, his own private gym, and I helped him do so. But then COVID happened and I lost all my clients. And I was like, what do I do now? Because I had just started and I had, because I had just started, I wasn't really working much. Once I lost all my clients, I didn't really have a base. So I was essentially starting at scratch, ground zero. And what I decided to do from that point on, I tried to do what Gus was alluding to earlier, which was those exercise videos, those YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram videos. But I'm going to build off with what Gus was saying earlier. And I'm going to say that I agree entirely with him with that. There's no order of exercises. There's no structure to these workouts. There's no real, it's really difficult to put out quality content that someone can follow at home safely. Because that's one of the biggest things. You could upload your workout, someone could do it and they could follow it for a month, but then if they had imbalances, muscular imbalances in any of their extremities, then they more or less probably could have made it better or worse. And so with all that being said, I personally decided, I'm not going to be a YouTube trainer. I can't be, because it's just, it didn't make sense for me. Sorry, I stutter a lot. I always bring it back to me, because this is where I'm going to start talking about what it really means to be a coach. Because when you're a coach, in my opinion, you kind of have to make sure that you fill your cup up first. You have to make sure that you are giving from a full place. You have to make sure that you are not feeling like you are, missing out on your workouts, missing out on your nutrition, missing out on things that you need to do for yourself. In my personal opinion, you got to give yourself the love first so that you're able to give that out to others. And it shows in your work, as Gus was saying earlier, because your clients are going to know. They're going to feel your energy. They're going to feel what kind of mood, what kind of vibe you're in. They're going to, and that's what matters though, how they feel. How they feel and how you are able to make them feel. The impact at which you're able to make upon the individual, that's what matters. So building off of what Gus was saying, that is, in my opinion, where I'm going to get to next, one of the hardest things about coaching. You are working with so many different people, and you yourself are an individual. The better you know yourself, the better you know yourself, the better you may be able to work with others. Because people are mirrors. Your internal world is a reflection of your external reality. So again, building off with everything I was just saying earlier, when you're working with your clients, you really have to treat them as people first, because they're people. You're dealing with their health and their wealth, their wellness, wealth, money too. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of things. And with that being said, depending on how you practice, depending on how you coach and train, because you're working with so much information, sometimes it's sensitive. And sometimes you got to be able to flip the switch. You got to be able to turn the knob and switch gears and be able to, get really high for the people who need you to be on that high vibe, and then get really low for the people who might need more of that lower vibe, that calmer, more zen, if you will, energy. Everyone's different. And so the one thing I really want to say about coaching, in my personal experience with strength conditioning, is that that's probably one of the hardest things, honestly. Trying to make sure that you fill your cup up first so that you can ensure that you are providing your services and you're giving your time and energy to the best of your personal ability to the people that you work with. Because at the end of the day, you also have to remind yourself that these individuals are choosing to spend their time with you. They can go and spend their time with whoever, wherever, especially now more than ever. So for me, I really, when it comes to strength conditioning, I really just, my big thing is focus on your how. Focus on how you are as a coach. And that's going to be how you get better as a coach. Because it's less about who you're going to become, and it's more about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how all that will lead you to who you may become. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Nate, can we get a tour?
Oh yeah, sorry everyone. So I did end up also opening a small little private studio. So I'm gonna give you all a little walkthrough of my private studio. I got this little rack over here from Rogue. This is the foldy one. I don't know, like RML3 or something like that. And then this one right here is from Dom's lovely boyfriend, who was also in that group project with us. I totally knew they were gonna get together after that project too. And then here's this rack. So I hope you like my spot.
Yeah, that is where I met my boyfriend, and my boyfriend went to Nate and asked him, should I do it? And then Nate was like, yeah. And so I have Nate and Noah to thank for my relationship. So thank you, boys. And I've just recently visited Nate's studio, and it's so gorgeous. He was painting it like he went for the all black vibe, and it works so well. like it's everything. It's like that moody, like that you're gonna go grind vibe. You know what I mean? Like when you go to the gym, like that's what you want to do. You just want to get in there and put in work. Like I haven't. I just kick off my shoes and I hang out on his couch and we do work together. But it's a really good workout vibe. Thank you, Nate. That he's like my philosopher right now in my life. So I hope you guys are inspired just like I am. So right now we're gonna open up to the floor to questions. I always have questions, but anyone from the audience, would you like to ask us or Nate anything about their personal experience, more about strength and conditioning? Please do.
I actually did have a question for Gus. Aside from getting the money to start your own gym, what would you say was another difficult part of getting to the opening of it?
Well, yeah, probably the most difficult part of opening a gym is developing a philosophy. You have a philosophy yourself, okay, that you aspire or that you subscribe to. You need to have that as part of your gym. In other words, like in my gym from day one, we were already wiping down equipment. We're re-racking weights. We're not dropping weights. We're not sitting on benches talking on phones. And I make it very clear. It's when I'm selling to people that are coming in trying to be members and stuff, I'll tell them flat out, look, we don't do meatheads here. So if you do any of that stuff, this is the wrong place for you. Don't come here because I am going to get in your face if you're dropping weights or leaving your crap on, because I don't want to clean up after you. So you need to get that established. Now, 5 years in here, I mean, my members are amazing. They'll walk around, they clean stuff up, they'll get after people that come in that are new, that are leaving things laying around. So you need to establish a personality for your club. And that personality needs to kind of, get to everybody that comes in the door. And then they're going to tell somebody else too. And then the right kind of people are going to be in your gym. You don't have any problems. I don't have broken equipment. I don't have any of that kind of stuff because everybody takes care of it. Does that work? Okay. Next.
I feel like you are on a smaller scale, but do you think you can answer that question as well? What was really difficult for you opening up your studio?
The fact that I started trying to open a studio during COVID. That was really difficult because, like I said earlier, I didn't have a base to work with. So I tried to go from in-person to virtual, and it was a flop because I didn't have a base to work with. I had like maybe 100 followers or 50, maybe even less than that, right? So that was very difficult. But what I did is I didn't let it keep me down. I had $4,000 to my name, and I was essentially living out of my car, and I decided I'm going to take $2K. I'm going to buy a barbell. I'm going to buy some plates. And actually, no, I couldn't even afford that. I just bought adjustable dumbbells. I put in my car, and I decided I'm going to turn this into a mobile training business. And so what I did from that point on is I just got those dumbbells, and then I slowly added more to my arsenal. I got a slam ball next, I think, and then I started getting bands, and then finally I ended up getting a barbell, and I would fit everything in my car. And I would go from door to door to my clients' homes, and that's how I got started. Did that from end of June, early July, all the way until August, with only one client. Because again, didn't really have much of a base, and was like kind of going through personal life matters, and so wasn't really on top of my social media game. And then, as I was alluding to prior, I didn't want to really do that social media stuff either, because I just felt like I'm going to put out this video, I'm going to do these home workouts for people, but then people are probably going to follow it and then injure themselves or make things worse, and I just probably shouldn't do this. So I stopped doing that. which at the same time was not constructive for the business. But, you know, I kept pushing, stayed down, believed in myself. And I'm one who believes in the power of manifestation. So I manifested my future, and I basically just said, you know, I don't know what, but hey, my guides, help me out here. And basically, after a week of panic attacks, back to back to back to back, at minimum 4 hours each, with the 5th panic attack being 6+ hours, I told my girlfriend at the time, hey, I think it's time to throw in the towel because I'm a mess and like I'm pretty much homeless. Very next day, I got 1 new inquiry. The very next day after that, I signed that inquiry and I got 2 new inquiries. The day after that, I signed 1. And then 2 days later, I signed 2 more new clients. And here I am now. So if you believe in yourself, and if this is, you know, if you see, if you believe in yourself and see a pathway and you got a vision, go through with it, regardless of what anybody says. Because I'm gonna tell y'all too, I had so many people in my lane telling me, don't do this, don't do that. Probably shouldn't do this. Consider this. But I love what I do. I work just as much as Gus, so I felt his pain when he was talking about how tired he can be sometimes. Like, I'm exhausted right now. But, you know, when you love what you do, the exhaustion, the tiredness doesn't even matter, because you'll do it all over again without even thinking, without even flinching. And that's just because you love what you do. So hope that answers. Probably answers a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like from both of you, like you guys started pretty small, independent contracting, Gus, and then Nate with you, mobile training, but just baby steps until you guys could get to where you are. So a little motivation for all of you as well. It's okay to start small. You're not going to get one big thing right in the beginning. That's huge. Thank you, guys. What else we got? Noah, you unmuted. Do you have a question or did you have a comment?
No, I had a question, but I'd rather our members get first dibs. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, what else, guys? That's okay. Alexa always has good questions. Dom, number 2, go for it.
Oh yeah, I had a question for Gus. Could you just talk about more like why you chose biomechanics?
Okay. Well, like I said, I've been coaching since the early 70s. So when I first started coaching, it was football. And I was working with quarterbacks because I played the position. And so I was just teaching people how to throw, how to move, how to do that stuff. And without actually realizing it, you know, from the time I was 20 years old, I was doing mechanics and didn't even have a name for it. And then I went to track and I was coaching sprinters and hurdlers and doing that kind of stuff. That's a lot of mechanics. And then when I went back to school and I ran into Dr. Whiting, the first biomechanics class I took, we'll walk in the door, never met the guy. He walks in, steps up on top of his desk, grabs an eraser. He goes, okay, now this is gravity. And he drops the eraser. And he comes down and he grabs it and he gets back up on the desk and he throws it across the room and he goes, okay, now that's velocity. And those are the kind of things well, I fell in love. I was just like, this is the coolest damn thing in the world. And from then on, I realized that everything that he was teaching us, I'd been doing all my life. So I had a love for it and a feel for it from a very young age. So transitioning to doing it full time was a real easy fit for me. And I guess that's my advice. Nate said it a couple times. You're going to run into all kinds of things, physical therapy, exercise science, biomechanics, whatever. Do something that you love to do because it's a lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of planning goes into, helping or coaching or teaching these people what you need to do. So if you don't really love it, it's going to bury you because you're going to work 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. And if you don't like that, then that's going to get real old real fast.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I build off of what Gus said too, though? All right. So I also think that know who you want to train too. Know your audience, know your population, because there are going to be people who might want to work with you, but you might not want to work with them. And that's okay. It can be okay. That's what I'm going to say. Because the thing is, you have to ask yourself, am I the best person? Am I in the best position to help this individual? And that filters back to when I was saying earlier, do some soul searching, know yourself, know what makes you tick, because you know what makes you tick, you don't know what makes you talk.
Nate, you kind of wanted to talk about this when we were brainstorming, but can you talk a little bit about, and Gus, maybe you can breach on this too, like athletes versus general population? Like, what has been your experience working with different kinds of populations? Those aren't the only two, but do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Me first or Gus first? Me first.
You're unmuted, go for it.
Oh, okay. Wait, one more time. Sorry, your question was.
What has been your experience working with different kinds of populations, and which is the one you prefer?
So I've worked with a lot of different populations. I've worked with some professional athletes. I've worked with some celebrities. I've worked with moms. I've worked with pre and postnatal women as well, like businessmen, entrepreneurs, dads. I work with a lot of parents. That's actually who I work a lot with. And I will honestly say I love working with parents because I'm an old soul and like I'm a dad. Well, I'm not a dad, but like I give total dad vibes if you know me. And like, that's been my favorite population to work with just because I connect with them most. And again, that just goes back to what I was saying earlier, like know yourself, know your population, know your vibe, know your tribe, and it'll just mesh.
Dom wants a dad joke. Not me, like Dom.
Oh.
Sorry, there's another Dom here. He said, can we get
I'm really bad at getting put on the spot. So if one comes out later, I'll say one later, but.
That's spontaneous. Okay, Gus. So it sounds like Nate prefers to work with parents. Do you have a specific population you prefer to work with?
I've worked with everything from little tiny kids to I've got an 85-year-old, not right now. Honestly, professional athletes wise, been doing plenty of those. Different kind of work ethic with those kind of guys because it is their livelihood. So they take it very, very seriously. Now, high school, college, you're going to get some that are going to be very into it, and you're going to get some that are doing it because mom and dad told them to, and they're going to kind of, half-ass their workout sometimes, in which case you got to let them know they're doing that. And it's like, hey, you got to step it up. With my history, I guess, with my injury and having gone through all the crap I did to get to where I am, I think I get the most satisfaction out of working with the older seniors, injured, because I had to do that for myself. When I was going through school, I was doing rehabs after surgeries and I was rehabbing myself and so, you get people that go, oh, I know how you feel. Well, I actually do know how you feel because I've been there, done that. So I get a lot of satisfaction out of taking some 80-year-old who's, my shoulder's killing me and I got a frozen shoulder or whatever. That's what the doctor, and you work with it and all of a sudden they get some movement and they start feeling good. And there's nothing better than that because, you know, they've lived a life, and it would be really nice to get to be an old person and not have all that crap to deal with. And so if you can help anybody get past that, it's awesome. It's good stuff. But yeah, I love every bit of it. It's fun stuff. It really is.
The athletes, they're definitely a different kind of vibe though, huh? Their expectations are probably much higher. Oh.
Gus, you're unmuted. I don't know.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, no, professional athletes. I worked with Clay Matthews when he was in high school.
Oh, okay.
I worked with his brother. I worked with Olympic sprinters, hurdlers, you know, and yeah, they're completely off the hook, different. They're all nuts, and they're very demanding, but you can draw that line and say, okay, we're done. I'm done with your demands now. This is what I want you to do. And they will click in like in a heartbeat, you know, when you take that stance with them. And, you know, and then the younger ones, you know, the ones that are going to get there before they ever start. You can see it. It's in their, you know, in their head, their attitudes and stuff like that. You know, they're going to be good someday, you know, so it's fun. Definitely different.
There's a question in the comments by Alexa. She's asking, she's seen a lot of people in the past year or so with a strength and conditioning certification from NSCA, and she's intrigued by it. And she's wondering, what kind of people do you guys recommend should get that certification?
Well, I think if you're going to be in, am I on? Yeah, I am on. If you're going to be doing strength and conditioning at whatever level, high school, collegiate, professional level, if that's your, you know, your goal, then I think you have to. If you're working with teams or that type of stuff, you have to have that cert. You have to understand how to put programs together for 60 to 100 guys at a time. You need to have, it needs to be seamless. You need to be able to get through a weight room with, you know, 65 guys in less than an hour and get everything done and keep everybody from, you know, killing themselves, dropping things on themselves or something like that. So it's a very, very, and it's getting more complicated as we learn more in the field. Okay, as they learn more about how and why and when and periodizations and all that kind of stuff, it changes things. So then you have to go back and revamp your programs and do the kind of things that are going to get these people in. So next, who's it, Nate? Where's Nate?
Yeah, Nate. From what we studied for Noah and I studied for the CSCS together, and Nate was supposed to join. From what I understand, you didn't get your CSCS, right? But you have a bunch of other certifications.
No, I do have my CSCS.
Oh, you do have CSCS.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you did go and get it. Never mind then. Completely false. Can you maybe throw out one other certification that you have felt has been really beneficial to you right now? That's not.
Yeah. So in addition to my CSCS certification, I also got certified in Blades by Rock Tape. Blades is their version of instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. And so I work with individuals through their fascia. I also did take the Blades Advanced course. So I work with individuals through their neuromuscular system, i.e. fascia. So EG, I should say. But in addition to that certification, I did take a corrective exercise specialist certification through the biomechanics method. And I am in another course right now, Mount Performance. They are based, this practitioner, he's based in, I want to say Switzerland or Denmark. But I like his approach because he takes a non-Western based approach, basically. And he incorporates other elements from his, you know, from his world, because I literally don't know nothing about his world, right? So it's very, so that's another course. I also took, and this is probably one of my favorite courses that I've taken, an integrative health practitioner course. It's a holistic health course in relation to nutrition. Me as an individual, as a coach, as a practitioner, I practice holistically. So I try to incorporate those elements into my practice. And I refer to what I do as a practice because that's how I perceive it. That's how I set it up as. And so those certifications have really enabled me to help individuals holistically from all aspects, because I'm able to, work with them. That's the word I'm looking for. The word is not coming to me. The word is not coming to me, but essentially what I'm looking for is, well, now I just lost it all. So I'm just going to shut up now.
That's okay, Nate. It happens to the best of us. So another question for Nate, you specifically in the chat. Ron asks, what about the healthcare industry and schooling turned you off?
Medicine.
Can you elaborate? In what way specifically?
Oh,
You're talking about holistic, right? You mentioned that word a lot. So, kind of talk about what that means to you. Maybe.
Yeah. So basically, I didn't want to go down this route of telling people, okay, well, you got this wrong with you. I'm gonna prescribe you this. You got that wrong with you. I'm gonna prescribe you that. I also, in my experience working with different physical therapists, because like Gus, I've had aches and pains, I've had imbalances, I've had injuries that I've had to have addressed and assessed. And I've never had a good experience with a physical therapist and a chiropractor. So and then after working as a physical therapy aide, I did not like it. So it's a hard question to answer, because there's just, the more you learn about our healthcare system and the more you learn about its history also, you might just squint an eye.
We'll get Mark to talk about it more. We'll have him on as our next guest speaker. My boyfriend is in healthcare admin, and he's learning all about our healthcare system, so we can definitely chat about that. But thanks, Nate. Okay, so some more questions. Actually, Noah, you've unmuted. Sorry, did you want to throw in a comment? Because I know that's like your thought process, right? What you're trying to do within med school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can have another, informal talk about, I guess, my attempt to address some of the problems that Nate brought up with, our current system of healthcare. But I was just going to read off some of the other comments so that you could get a break if you need.
Sure. No, that's okay. Yeah. I was just going to say one other thing I'm really glad Nate brought that up, is because that's what our organization is about. No, exercise is medicine. Like, that's our whole point. That's what we're trying to do here, guys. And we're really excited that we can have some more people spread that. Okay. Dom number 2 asks, Gus, Nate, were there any situations where you helped prevent burnout with young athletes? If not, how might you go about doing that?
Gus, would you like to lead? I've been talking a lot.
I'll go. Young athletes, and I've run into this a lot over the years, and it's getting worse as time goes on. Parents want little Johnny or little Susie to be a professional athlete because they didn't quite make it. They got to college or something and something happened. And so now I'm going to live through my kid, and my kid, who's now, 12 years old, is working out 7 days a week. He's training with a private trainer. Then he's working with a coach in high school. Then he's working with this guy and going with that guy. And by the time this kid's, 13 years old, a freshman in high school or something, he's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. This is no fun. Okay. It's still a game. And I think you need to, if you are working with younger athletes, especially high school, middle school type athletes, you need to keep it fun and you need to keep it a game, because the minute they start feeling like it's too much work, I'd say 90% of them are going to bail. And once you get to that next level where you get to college, where it's like, hey, this really matters, I'm on a scholarship, now it's a different world. But that burnout happens a lot, and I've seen it a lot over the years, where some really very, very good young athletes quit a sport because their parents said, well, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to be a distance runner, not a sprinter. Well, the kid's fast as hell. He doesn't need to be a distance runner. Okay. Why are you making him a distance runner? And the kid quits. And the kid's been going to nationals for 3 years straight as a middle schooler and winning. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's sad. That is really, really, really sad. Anyway, Nate, go for it, man. Your turn.
No, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. Keep it fun, keep it playful, because kids love to play. And if you also act more like a child yourself with them, if you let yourself get lost in that sauce, then it'll be so much fun for both you and them. And yeah, just keep it fun. That's how you prevent burnout.
Yeah, definitely. This is kind of a personal question that you don't have to answer, but did you feel like did you experience that like when you were in sports? If not, you don't have to answer. It's fine.
Burnout?
For Dom, the person who asked the question, sorry, Dom DeConti.
Oh.
Is that something you had experienced?
Oh, not really. No.
No.
It was just like a topic in one of my classes, and I was just interested, and
nice.
It can be applied to more than just strength training too.
For sure. I did experience it when I was in high school, and I think that's so relevant. Like, I played basketball for 4 years, and I played track, or I ran track for 3. And yeah, by the time I got to my senior year, I was like, Coach, I don't want to do this anymore. But yeah, you talk about, like, me, you're saying have fun, play with the kids. Like, I'm a college student. I am 23 years old, and I love games. Like, go send me on play beach volleyball and like have that as my training, and I'd be so happy. So I think it's relevant to adults. Like, I get bored just doing bicep curls. Like, if you throw me a challenge in a game, ooh, like, let me do it. So I think it's relevant for everyone, not just kids. Good question.
Dom,
yeah.
Is it okay if I add some more? I think what would be a little bit more helpful for everyone here too is if I share with them, like, I wasn't really an athlete as a kid, but I did experience burnout, and like, I guess my sport, because of my culture, was my education. That was my sport. And like, it just kind of came to me, but that was also part of like, well, it didn't just came to me, but I just remembered it. But that was one of the reasons also why I dropped out of grad school, because I was burnt out too. I was so tired of just being in school. And I didn't want to meet my parents' expectations, because my parents were the parents that Gus was describing. They were the ones who, I didn't get to play piano, so you're going to play piano. I didn't get to do martial arts, so you're going to do martial arts. I didn't get to do this, so you're going to do this. And basically, yeah, I grew up very unhappy. And then I think that was part of the reason why when I finally got done with school, I was like, you know what? This is my option. Do I even want to do this? No. So I said, no, I'm not doing it. And I didn't do it.
We love a gap year. If any of you are considering it,
Do it.
Good idea. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So Miranda asked for both of you, what has been your biggest accomplishment you've had with a client? Nate, why don't you?
Yeah.
Biggest accomplishment with a client.
My biggest accomplishment it's been sustainability. All my clients have sustained, I've transitioned them from sedentary into active lifestyles, and they've maintained it ever since. I've continued working with all my clients, and even the ones who I don't work with anymore, I see them posting on social media not every single day, but probably 4 to 5 times a week. They're doing something, whether they're at the gym, whether they're playing tennis, whether they're playing a sport. That's success for me. And that's why I don't do marketing pictures and bull BS like that, because for me, it's a win if I see them out living their life, living their best life. That's what I tell my clients too. I'm here to just help you get your physical health, your mental wealth in check. I'm here to bring you into alignment so that you can meet your higher self, so that you can live your best life. And I see that in social media. So sustainability.
Good answer. Gus, what has been your biggest accomplishment with the client?
Oh geez, what is this now? About 25 years ago, I started working in a physical therapy clinic, chiropractic physical therapy crossover, and we started doing the transitional therapy. That's where I actually started this whole thing. Well, a guy by the name of Mark Miller came to the office. He had been hit. He was behind his truck on the freeway. His truck had broken down. He worked for Caltrans, and he was standing behind his truck trying to get to somebody lost control of their car. He got smashed between the back of his truck and the front of this car. And so they were going to amputate his legs, okay? And under no circumstances, how much? Huh? Oh, the amputee part. Okay. So anyway, he was pinned between the back of his truck and a car on the freeway, hit him, boom, boom. And so they took him to the hospital. They were going to amputate both his legs because, he was crushed. And he said, no way, under no circumstances will I'm going to figure this out. So he ended up being my patient. Now, we worked together for 2 years, lying on floors, helping him sit up, helping him, whatever, just whatever we had to do, we did. And it brought back a lot of the stuff I had to go through when I got shot. And I think that was where my experience and what he was going through kind of overlapped each other. And at any rate, long story short, Mark now lives in England with his wife. They own a big farm. He rides horses, he runs, he jumps, he plays, he does whatever he wants to do. And yeah, never forget that. I'll never forget that. Greatest time ever.
That's incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, no, that was that. Yeah.
It's just allergies, guys. I'm not crying. It's fine. That was really sweet. I'm sorry. I had something I would say. Oh, 2 years. That's a really long time to work with someone.
Yeah, it was every day of the week for 2 years.
Wow.
We were laying on the floor. I'm trying to help him to stand. I'm holding him, and he's trying to take a step, and I'm catching him. And then, it was anything and everything you can think of to do to try to make this work. We're going to try. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the emotionality behind that? 2 years, that's a lot of time and emotion to invest in someone. Like, what was that like for you as a trainer?
It was very emotional a lot of times. I remember the first time he took a step on his own. And yeah,
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's amazing.
I know,
There's no words that can describe a feeling that you get when you help somebody like that. And that's what we do it for. That's what your job's about. You're going to help people to feel better. And, you're not going to run into a Mark Miller that often, but if you ever have that chance, you'll know what I mean. You'll know what that feels like when you get there. It's pretty cool. It's a very cool thing.
Sounds like it. I know, me especially, because and Nate kind of mentioned it, we didn't go down the physical therapy route. But you do see that a lot in physical therapy, especially if you guys are working within that inpatient setting,
Sure.
in the specific clinical population. So you guys are for the right reasons. So don't let us deter you, because I've talked to you And all of you are in it for that special connection, right? You want a Mark Miller. So you know what, if that's absolutely right. So thanks.
It's good stuff. It really is good stuff.
Yeah, that's huge. Thank you for sharing that with
You're
us. Okay, let's see. I don't know I had a question, but let's open it up to the audience because Noah left. Elise, I saw that you unmuted. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I actually wanted to piggyback off of the conversation that Gus shared with us about Mark. So thank you first for sharing that. But I wanted to ask, in the beginning or at any point in time, did you ever feel that you were not equipped to help him in the manner that you know you needed to? Like, did you ever have any doubt in your mind that you could not help get him to that point? Because I know sometimes for me, we go to school, we learn what we learn, but confidence is still something like I know I struggle with. And when faced with a situation like that, I would think, in my mind, am I the one? Like Nate was saying, am I the one or am I the most qualified to help Mark at this point in time? So did you ever feel at any point of doubt in yourself in helping him within your 2 years? And if so, how did you overcome that?
Never had a doubt. I just felt like, you know what? I know a lot of things and I've experienced a lot of things personally myself going through stuff. And so it was just draw on experience, draw on the knowledge, and just, if something didn't work, then try something else. Figure out another way to do whatever it is you were going to do. And he never quit and I never quit and neither one of us ever doubted it. I didn't know if he would ever get out of a wheelchair. He didn't know if he'd ever get out of a wheelchair either. But the fact of the matter was we are getting out of the wheelchair and we're going to get there. And that's all that ever happened. There was never a doubt for either one of us that someday, somehow we would figure this thing out and it would be okay. You got to believe in yourself. If you have the knowledge, and all of you will get the experience. I mean, you're in your 20s now, so 20 years from now, you're going to be sitting there saying the same things to some other young kids that are going through the same stuff you're doing, and you're going to tell them about your experiences, and they're going to sit there and go, "Oh my God," just like some of you might be doing at this point. It's a great, great vocation. It really is, because there's so many people out there that need help. And if you're good at it and you're willing to put in the time and the effort, you can help a lot of people. So never doubt yourself, though. You guys went through it. You put in the work. You did the school. You're still doing the school. And then add that experience on top of it. You guys will be amazing. You will. Just believe in yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Good advice. Any more questions? Morgan, we can definitely get into that in a sec. But for Gus and Nate specifically, any other questions? Okay. We can briefly jump into the PT question, Nate, if you want to add on to Dom and I have already talked about this, but I'm actually going to let you guys go. So thank you all so much for attending this event. Please feel free to stay on if you have more questions. I'm hoping our guests can stay for just a bit more and chat with us. But if you guys have somewhere to be, if you want to get some dinner.
Y'all can hit my DMs too.
Yeah, yeah. His IG.
Not shy, you can hit my DMs. I'll answer.
We will include hopefully their contact information if they feel willing to share within that follow-up email, so you guys can reach out to them with any additional questions you may have. But if not, thank you all so much for coming. And you can head out if you don't want to hear the PT story, because I've said it twice already, but I'll say so let's see, is Morgan?
Are there still people on here? Or in
yeah, we have a few.
Oh, wow, a lot of people. Okay. Well, I just want to say something.
Oh. Yeah, really, really briefly for PT for me, I just, I really like